Welcome to Zoe Stories. I played with makeup for fun, but the girl in the mirror stole my heart. I swear, I never wanted to become a girl. But the moment she touched my face with that makeup brush, everything changed. I thought it was just a joke, just a friendly dare. But the mirror didn't lie. The girl staring back at me wasn't a stranger. She was me. And the scary part, she wasn't going away. I still remember the exact light in our living room the night it started, golden and lazy, falling across Alexa's bookshelf like it had nowhere to hurry. That light always made small things look important: the faint scuff on the coffee table, the chipped corner of her favorite mug, the fine hairs along my jaw that I'd spent years pretending not to notice. I sat on the floor with a palette of colors between my knees and a pile of clothes that didn't belong to the version of me I took to work every morning. My name is Erin. I'm 30. An administrative analyst for a logistics firm that runs on punctuality and spreadsheets. At 9 in the morning I am 2 neat shirts and 1 too many emails. Efficient, precise, forgettable. At night, when the apartment sighs and Alexa studies for her graduate program or falls asleep with a book on her chest, something smaller and more dangerous wakes up inside me: curiosity. Not the sweet curiosity of a kid ripping open presents, but the heavy, secret kind that presses against your ribcage and refuses to be ignored. I didn't grow up with role models who understood this. My childhood house was quiet in the ways people think are polite. No talk of feelings, no explanation for the way certain clothes made me feel like I belonged. Once, when I was 12, I found my sister's old mascara in the back of a drawer and I smeared it on my lashes in the dark of my room. The thrill felt like theft and confession at once. I swore I'd never tell, and I didn't. I learned to bury the habit under a stack of denial and the everyday responsibilities that made the rest of my life look, to everyone else, entirely ordinary. Alexa thinks she knows me. She calls me practical, grounded, predictable, with a smile that is meant to be teasing and kind. She's a year younger than me, fierce in ways that make me breathless, an aspiring psychologist with a laugh that turns private jokes into small, shimmering conspiracies between us. We met at a gallery opening 3 years ago. She spilled red wine on my white shirt and apologized in a way that felt like an invitation. She moved in 2 months later, and with her she brought candlelight, late-night essays, and a world of speech and analysis that made me admire her intelligence and envy her bravery. For months, my secret life took the quiet route: a lipstick applied quickly, a wig hidden in a gym bag, a dress folded into a tote and only taken out when I was sure the building's laundry room would be empty. It felt like a ritual of reclamation. Small things I could arrange into a person who smiled differently, walked like a song. I called her Lila in my head because names frame identities, even the ones we keep private. Lila didn't belong to anyone but me. She fit into mirrors the way a song fits into silence: soft, sudden, impossible to hold for long. Lila was not always about escape. Sometimes she was practicing the tilt of a head, the lift of an eyebrow, the way shoulders could be trained to carry a different weight. Other times she felt like confession, an admission that inside the clockwork of my day-to-day there lived a pulse that wanted to shimmer instead of hold steady. The tension between Erin and Lila became the beat of my weeks. 2 halves of an identity trying to live in one small apartment without slamming into each other. Work never suspected. Colleagues knew me as punctual, mild, the kind of person who laughed politely at the right moments. Family saw a son who called on holidays and never brought trouble home. Alexa, she believed she knew my boundaries. She had seen pieces of me, dresses hung on a hanger in the hall once because of a prank from a cousin, a late-night confession about reading fashion blogs out of curiosity. She joked, the way lovers joke to carve out territory: "You'd look good in anything." I remember the warmth of that joke and how it tasted like permission. But permission is a slippery thing when it comes from someone else. It sounded safe until the night she offered to help. That night began small. Alexa had an exam the next day and wanted to practice eyebrow shapes. She called it precision training. I laughed and offered to be her model because it sounded like a harmless way to be near her. She set up a lamp and handed me a brush. The brush was the size of a promise. When she guided my hand to color my lid, it felt collaborative, intimate. Her fingers were steady and confident. With every stroke she erased a little of my hesitation. With every powder dusted across my cheek, I could feel Lila expanding into the space between us. The mirror betrayed me. It flattened the room into a rectangle and showed me the aftermath of our experiment like a verdict. Lila's eyes looked back at me, bigger, softer, dangerous. I had not intended to fall for someone born from a dare, but the feeling landed with the quiet force of inevitability. I loved this version of myself. The softness of the cheekbone contour, the way a winged liner could turn a glance into a question. These small alchemies did something to my chest that my tidy morning routines never could. I didn't know whether to be ashamed, exhilarated, or both. Fear sat in my stomach like a small stone. Alexa was out in the kitchen arranging tea. She hummed, unaware of the way the air shifted in the living room. The apartment had rules, no secrets about finances, no secrets about family obligations, but the unspoken rules about identity were elastic and fragile. If she understood the full shape of Lila, what would she do? Leave a note? Laugh it off? Or would the thing I loved become the wedge that pried us apart? This is the first night that matters, the one that rewires the rest. In these opening hours the stakes are tiny and colossal at once, the risk of being seen, the temptation to stay. I stand at the threshold of a decision I don't yet have language for. Do I fold Lila away into a drawer and return to Erin, or do I let the girl in the mirror steal a piece of my heart and refuse to give it back? I tuck the brush into the cup on the vanity, every motion careful, like a man navigating a house with the lights off. Outside, someone laughs in the hallway, one of those ordinary sounds that makes secrets harder to keep. Inside, the mirror keeps two lives in the same square of glass. I press my fingertips to the cool surface and watch my reflection breathe. For the first time in a long time I feel something open and raw. The worry is real. The need is louder. When Alexa steps back into the living room, tea in hand, the moment hangs like a held note. She's smiling, probably thinking tonight was about practice and nothing more. But I know better. I know that the next time the lamp is on and the brush is in her hand, we won't be playing the same game. Something has shifted. I have crossed a line that cannot be uncrossed simply by turning a brush the other way. This introduction closes with the smallest of promises, that nothing will be the same, that Lila and Erin will have to learn to live with one another, and that the girl in the mirror has already started to steal my heart. Next comes the longer road, the build-up, where the transformation becomes more than a private thrill and the danger of discovery grows teeth. The next morning began with the kind of quiet that feels like a lie, too calm, too still, the sort of silence that hides consequences beneath it. Alexa was still asleep, curled on her side, her hair spilling across her pillow like a dark ribbon. I lay beside her, staring at the ceiling, my heart beating too fast for someone who had supposedly done nothing wrong. But the truth wasn't simple anymore. I hadn't just put on makeup last night. I hadn't just played. I had felt something that refused to loosen its grip even in the morning light. Every time I blinked, I saw her again. Lila. The girl in the mirror who looked like a secret finally allowed to breathe. I slid out of bed carefully so I wouldn't wake Alexa. My feet brushed the cold wooden floor, grounding me back into the version of myself that the world recognized. A part of me hoped the feeling from last night would fade with sleep, dissolve like sugar in hot tea. But it didn't. It followed me. Into the hallway. Into the bathroom. Into the mirror. I splashed water on my face and looked up. For a moment, just a flicker, I still saw the faint outline of the person from last night, the softness around the eyes from Alexa's liner, the memory of color on my lips. My chest tightened. Get it together, I whispered. But I couldn't lie to myself anymore. The desire was back. Stronger. Sharper. Unavoidable. I got ready for work like a machine. Shower. Shave. Button the shirt. Tuck the shirt. Tie the shoes. Normal. Ordinary. Safe. But underneath the collar of my work shirt, my pulse wouldn't settle. At the office, under the dull hum of fluorescent lights, I tried forcing my mind into spreadsheets and delivery reports, but every reflection, every glass wall, every computer screen, felt like a doorway back to last night. My hands were supposed to be typing, but instead they lingered over my lips. Remembering the softness. Remembering the color. Remembering her. The thrill wasn't quiet anymore. It was loud. And dangerous. and I wasn't sure I wanted it to stop. At 11:42 a.m., my phone buzzed. Alexa. Had fun last night, we should do it again sometime. My blood ran warm and cold at the same time. Again? She wanted to do it again? My fingers hovered over the keyboard before replying. Me. Yeah. It was fun. I erased it. Typed again. Me. Sure. Whenever you want. Erased again. Typed again. Me. Yeah. I liked it too. Maybe we can try something new? I froze. New? Why did I say that? Why did my heart race after typing it? Before I could panic and delete it, Alexa replied with a voice note. I put on my headphones and pressed play. Her voice poured into my ears like a whisper meant to melt resolve. Erin, you looked beautiful last night. I didn't say it then because I didn't want to make you nervous. But I liked seeing that side of you. Really liked it. I think you should try it again. For me. For her. The words hit deeper than they should have. They weren't a suggestion. They were an invitation. An invitation I wanted to accept, but feared more than anything. My chest tightened with a mix of excitement and dread. If she liked it, if she encouraged it, if she wanted more, then what was I supposed to do? Where did Erin end and Lila begin? When I got home that evening, Alexa wasn't there. She had a late class. The apartment was dim, quiet, the perfect environment for the kind of temptations I should have been fighting. But instead, I opened the drawer. The drawer. The one no one knew about. The one I had filled over months. Piece by piece. Feeling by feeling. Inside lay the fragments of a person I never had the courage to become. A soft brown wig with waves, a pair of subtle, feminine glasses, a tangle of necklaces and hoops, 3 velvet scrunchies, foundation in a shade I pretended was accidentally chosen, a dusty pink lipstick I bought from a city far from home, a dress I had never worn outside the bedroom. My fingers shook as I touched each piece. Just looking, I lied to myself. But curiosity grows teeth in silence. I turned toward the mirror. It waited for me like a story half-written. I swallowed. Just looking. That's all. But my hands betrayed me. They picked up the lipstick. Opened it. Twisted it up. My heart hammered. I brought it close to my lips. And stopped. Not because I didn't want to, but because. The doorknob clicked. My breath froze. Alexa? No. Footsteps in the hallway. Outside the apartment. Someone passing. But for that split second. That horrifying, electrifying second. I felt the risk. I felt the danger. I felt the thrill of almost being caught. My pulse didn't slow down. It sped up. That tiny moment unlocked something in me, a strange, addicting mix of fear and desire. Suddenly the idea of transforming wasn't just exciting. It was suspenseful. Forbidden. Alive. And I wanted more. By the time Alexa walked in, I had shoved everything back into the drawer, slammed it shut, and sat on the couch pretending nothing happened. She tossed her bag on the table, kicked off her shoes, and flopped beside me. You okay? She asked, nudging my shoulder. I nodded too quickly. Too stiffly. She narrowed her eyes. She could read body language like a second language. Erin, what's going on? I swallowed. Nothing. Just tired. She watched me, studied me, like she could see the outline of Lila beneath my skin. Then she smiled softly. Erin, you know you can tell me anything, right? My heart cracked at that. Because I wanted to. I wanted to open that drawer, show her everything, and say, this is me. All of me. Even the parts I'm afraid of. But I couldn't. Not yet. So I lied. Again. Yeah. I know. Her smile faded a little. Just enough to tell me she didn't believe me, but wouldn't push. Not tonight. Not yet. At 11 p.m., long after we'd eaten dinner and she'd started reading on the couch, she looked at me over the top of her book. Hey, don't sleep early, she said. I have something for you. For me? What? You'll see. She winked, then disappeared into the bedroom. I heard drawers opening. Something rustling. A small laugh. My stomach flipped. What was she planning? What did she find? What if she found the drawer? Before I could stand, she returned, holding a small black bag with a silver ribbon. "This is for tonight," she said softly. "For tonight." She nodded, then whispered, "For Lila." My heart stopped. She knew. She knew the name. She knew the truth. She knew everything. I couldn't breathe. "Aaron," she murmured, stepping closer. "You don't have to hide from me." The room tilted. My fear. My excitement. My secret. My identity. All of it collided at once. Lila wasn't safe anymore. She wasn't hidden. She wasn't imaginary. She was seen. And being seen, truly seen, was the most terrifying thing of all. The silver ribbon around the black bag felt heavier than it looked. Not because of the weight, but because of the meaning. Alexa placed it in my hands gently, like she was handing me something fragile. Or something dangerous. "Go on," she whispered. "Open it." I didn't move. My fingers wouldn't cooperate. My breath felt stuck in my chest. The room seemed strangely quiet, like the air itself was waiting to see what I'd do next. Alexa sat beside me, her knee touching mine, her presence warm and terrifying at the same time. "Aaron," she said, voice soft but steady. "This isn't a test. I'm not trying to trap you." My throat tightened. She leaned in a little closer. "I'm giving you permission." The words landed like a lightning strike. Permission. It wasn't a word I had expected. And definitely not a word I knew I needed. Slowly, very slowly, I pulled the ribbon loose. The bag opened with the softest sound, but my heart pounded like a drum. Inside was not makeup, not clothes, not anything I could have predicted. It was a small purple box. Elegant, shiny, mysterious. I looked at her. What is it?" "Something I bought today," she said. "For the version of you I saw last night." My pulse fluttered violently. I opened the purple box. Inside, nestled on velvet, was a pair of earrings. Thin gold hoops, delicate, feminine, beautiful. My breath evaporated. Hoops. Not just generic accessories. Not simple studs. These were earrings that made a statement. Ones girls wore when they wanted to feel pretty. Bold. Visible. "Alexa," I whispered, but she placed a finger on my lips. "Don't think," she said gently. "Just wear them." Her confidence only made my nerves worse. I can't. I don't even have." She smirked. "They're fake. Clip-ons." Then softly, "I chose them because they reminded me of you." The room spun. "Me?" She saw earrings and thought, "Me? Try them," she whispered. I lifted one with trembling fingers. It was light. Much lighter than I expected, but the emotion behind it hit like a hammer. With a shaky breath, I brought it toward my ear. And stopped. Alexa noticed. "You're scared," she said softly. I nodded. "Why?" I swallowed. "Because, if I wear these, then I'm not just playing anymore." She cupped my jaw, turning my face toward her. "You were never just playing, Aaron. Not last night. Not today. Not with me." Her words pierced deeper than any truth I'd admitted to myself. "And if I put them on?" I whispered. She smiled. A small, tender, beautiful smile. "Then you'll look like the girl who stole your heart in the mirror." My chest burned, all fear, all desire, all confusion mixing into something sharp and undeniable. I clipped the first earring onto my left ear. A shock ran through me. Not pain, but the sudden awareness of femininity. A soft weight against my jawline. A subtle swing when I moved. Alexa watched my reaction carefully. "Do you like it?" she asked. I couldn't lie anymore. Not to her. Not to myself. "I love it." "Then put the other one on." I did. And something shifted inside me the moment both earrings clicked into place. It felt like recognition. Like letting a locked part of myself breathe for the first time. Alexa's voice dropped to a whisper. There she is. My heart stopped. Who? I asked. She brushed a strand of my hair back, fingers grazing the new gold hoops. Lila. My stomach twisted. Not with fear, but with emotion so strong I couldn't name it. Erin, she said slowly, I didn't come home early on purpose. I blinked. What do you mean? She took a deep breath. Her eyes softened with a seriousness I hadn't seen before. I came home early because I forgot my notebook. A beat. Remember the hallway sound you heard? My blood ran cold. That wasn't a neighbor, she whispered. My hands froze. It was me. Ice crawled down my spine. You. Words wouldn't form. She nodded. I saw the drawer open. My stomach dropped. And I saw you, she added, voice barely audible. With the lipstick in your hand. My whole body locked up. Oh God. Oh God. Oh God. I wasn't supposed to see it, she said. But I did. I couldn't breathe. My worst fear. The exact nightmare I'd been avoiding. Had already happened. And she had never said a word. Until now. The gold hoops were still warm against my skin when Alexa's confession settled between us like a live wire. She saw me. Not last night. Not in a safe, controlled moment. But in the middle of my secret. Raw, scared, exposed. A part of me wanted to run. Another part wanted to collapse. But Alexa didn't move. She didn't look ashamed or disgusted or confused. She looked calm. Almost relieved. I wasn't trying to spy, she said softly. I just froze. You looked different. I swallowed hard. Different how? She breathed in slowly, like she was choosing every word carefully. Like someone who finally stopped pretending. My stomach twisted. I wasn't. You were. She cut me off gently. You were pretending long before I caught you. I didn't know what to say. Didn't know how to defend myself. Didn't know how to justify the drawer, the lipstick, the way my hands shook when I touched it. Alexa reached for my hand. Sit with me. I didn't trust my voice, so I just nodded. We sat together on the edge of the couch, the gold hoops brushing my jaw every time I breathed. It felt unreal, dangerously real. Like this wasn't playing dress-up anymore, but stepping into something deeper. Do you want to know what I thought when I saw you? She asked. No. The answer slipped out too quickly. She smiled faintly. You're scared of the truth. I'm scared of losing you. Her breath hitched, barely, but I caught it. Erin. Look at me. I didn't. My eyes fixed on the floor. Erin, she said again, firmer this time. I forced myself to meet her gaze. She wasn't angry. She wasn't confused. She wasn't even shocked. She was warm. Warm in a way that made my heart ache. You're not going to lose me, she said. I stayed quiet because I wanted you to tell me on your own. I didn't know how, I whispered. I know. That's why I'm helping you now. Her hand slid up to the base of my neck, her thumb brushing the earring lightly. Put them on, she repeated softly. Let's see her properly. My breath stuttered. Her. I whispered. She nodded slowly. With your permission. I closed my eyes. Not because I was afraid, but because the word her hit something deep, something buried under years of denial. When I opened them, Alexa was smiling gently. I'm not trying to change you, she said. I'm trying to understand you. My throat tightened. Then why do I feel like I'm falling apart? Her voice dropped. Because you've been holding this part of yourself together with fear. The truth stung. Let's try something, she whispered. What? She stood up and walked to the bedroom door. Come here. I hesitated. My legs felt heavy and weak. But something inside me, something fragile and curious, pulled me forward. When I reached the doorway, Alexa stepped aside. The room was lit only by the soft glow of her vanity mirror, warm circles of light reflecting across the floor, shadows bending around her perfume bottles and jewelry trays. The reflection waiting in the mirror wasn't Lila. Not yet. But she was close. Gold hoops. Soft expression. Eyes too full of emotion. Alexa came behind me, her hands resting lightly on my shoulders. Look, she whispered. I did. And the world quieted. This is you, she said. And I think you know that. A tremor went through me. Alexa, I'm scared. I know. Her hands squeezed my shoulders gently. But don't be. Her reflection leaned closer over my shoulder. Let me show you something. She opened the top drawer of her vanity and pulled out a small makeup palette. Not the bright, bold colors from last night, but something softer. Rosy. Gentle. Feminine without screaming it. This won't make you look like a joke. She met my eyes in the mirror. This will make you look like her. My breath caught. She dipped a brush into the palette. May I? She asked. My voice barely came out. Yes. She lifted the brush toward my cheek. And suddenly, a sharp, loud knock echoed through the apartment. Alexa froze. My blood turned to ice. Another knock. Harder. Alexa whispered, I'm not expecting anyone. My pulse skyrocketed. Who is that? Before she could answer, a familiar voice called out through the door. Alexa, it's your cousin. Open up. My knees buckled. Her cousin. The one who never knocked quietly. The one who barged in uninvited. The one who always judged everything. Alexa's eyes widened in horror. She grabbed my wrist. Bathroom. Go. Now. I stumbled back, heart hammering, earrings swinging wildly. Erin, she whispered urgently. Don't make a sound. The knocking grew louder. Hello? I can hear you inside. I froze in the doorway, breath held, makeup brush still in Alexa's hand. This wasn't supposed to happen. Not now. Not tonight. Not when Lila was seconds away from appearing. The doorknob rattled violently. Erin, go. Alexa hissed. I sprinted toward the bathroom. And the moment before I shut the door, I caught one last terrifying glimpse of myself in the mirror. Hoops glinting. Eyes wide. Half-born. Half-exposed. And then the door slammed shut. And I wasn't sure if I was safe. Or trapped. Morning light slipped through the thin curtains, painting the apartment in soft gold. But nothing about this morning felt soft. Not after last night. Not after what she did to me, and what I let happen. I sat on the edge of the couch, still feeling the ghost of her fingertips on my jawline. My face was clean now, no makeup, no gloss, no lashes. But the memory of that girl in the mirror refused to fade. A strange silence hung in the room. Too quiet. The kind of quiet where you can hear your own heartbeat asking questions you don't want to answer. Then, her bedroom door clicked open. She stepped out, stretching casually, as if she hadn't turned my whole identity upside down last night. Morning, she said, brushing her hair behind her ear. Her voice was calm. Too calm. Like she already knew I didn't sleep. Because of her. I tried to speak, but the words stuck somewhere between fear and something I didn't want to admit. She walked closer. Slow. Confident. Eyes locked on me like she could see right through the thin shell of him I was still trying to hold on to. You're thinking about her, aren't you? She whispered. Who? She smiled. The girl I created last night. My chest tightened. I wished I could deny it. I wished I could say I forgot. But she knew. She always knew. You saw how beautiful you were, she continued. Even now, you're wondering how she'd look in daylight. I swallowed hard. Because she was right. Before I could react, she lifted my chin again. The same way she did last night. And my body froze like her touch carried the same magic. Good, she murmured. Because today, we take the next step. My heart dropped. Next step. She smiled like she'd been waiting for that exact question. You're not just trying on makeup today. You're becoming the version of you that you're scared to meet. I didn't even get the chance to stand up. She took my wrist gently, too gently, and pulled me toward her room. Her room. The place where she transformed me last night. Where I lost control. Where I saw her in the mirror instead of him. Crossing that doorway again made my stomach twist. She let go of my wrist only when I was standing in the middle of the room. Sunlight hit the vanity table. Makeup brushes lined up like tools for a ritual. Palettes open. Lipsticks waiting. But today, something else was waiting too. A neatly folded outfit on the bed. Not just any outfit. Not something subtle. A soft pastel top, delicate and feminine. A short pleated skirt that would barely reach mid-thigh. And underneath it all, a pair of sheer, silky pantyhose catching the morning light. My breath stuttered. She stepped beside me, her voice low. Last night was the beginning, she said. Today, we see how far she can go. I never said I wanted this. You didn't have to, she replied. You stayed. You let me finish the makeup. You stared at yourself like you'd never seen beauty before. Her hand grazed the skirt lying on the bed. You're curious. And curiosity is the first step toward becoming her. I shook my head, even though my eyes kept drifting back to the clothes. I can't wear that. You will, she whispered, stepping behind me. And not because I'm forcing you. Her fingers brushed the side of my neck, making my whole body lock up. But because a part of you already said yes. I felt heat rise up my face. Fear, embarrassment, excitement. All tangled together. Then she moved in front of me, slowly lifting the pastel top. Take off your shirt. My heart slammed against my ribs. No, this isn't. She stepped closer, eyes soft but unshakable. Trust me, she said. You trusted me last night. And look how beautiful you became. I froze. Because the memory of that reflection, that girl, that impossible, unreal version of me, was stronger than my fear. She waited. No pressure. No impatience. Just confidence that I would break before she blinked. And then, I pulled my shirt over my head. Her smile widened. Good, she breathed. You're ready. The pastel top slid over my shoulders like it belonged to someone else entirely. My chest felt strange, vulnerable, exposed, but not in the way I feared. She guided me to the mirror. Look at yourself, she whispered. Really look. I hesitated. The reflection was half me, half someone else. Soft cheeks, delicate lines, eyes wider than usual. And in the center, Lila, waiting to step fully into the world. Can you see her? She asked, her voice low, almost teasing. I can, I whispered, voice tight. She nodded. Good. That's where we start. Then came the skirt. I froze as she handed it to me. I could feel every heartbeat in my chest, every thump echoing in my ears. It's not too short, she said softly, noticing my hesitation. It's just enough to feel the change. Just enough to let her out. With trembling hands, I slid it up. The silky pantyhose followed, snug against my legs, smooth, strange, exhilarating. I looked in the mirror. Lila's legs looked taller, sleeker, more confident. And my heart raced. Her hands guided mine to the makeup she had laid out. Soft blush, a light sweep of eyeshadow, mascara, lip gloss. Each stroke felt like electricity on my skin. With every brush against my cheek, every swipe along my lips. Lila grew stronger inside me. Erin was still here. But smaller. Quieter. Alexa stood behind me, whispering instructions, encouragement, admiration. Breathe, she said. You look perfect. Beautiful. Don't be afraid. I wasn't afraid. Not exactly. I was trembling. My chest was tight. My pulse thundered. And yet, the excitement, the thrill, the danger of being seen made me feel alive in a way nothing else ever had. I put on the last touch, the small gold hoops she gave me. The same ones I had worn before. The moment they clicked into place, the mirror whispered it clearly. She was here. And she wasn't going anywhere. I turned slightly. The sway of the skirt, the smoothness of the pantyhose, the delicate glow of my cheeks. It wasn't just a costume anymore. It was me. Lila. Alive. Real. Alexa stepped closer, her eyes soft. You look amazing, she breathed. And I'm proud of you. My stomach flipped. Not from embarrassment, but from something new. Something dangerous. Something intoxicating. I had become her. And in that reflection, I realized I was falling for Lila. The thrill of seeing Lila fully alive in the mirror had barely settled when a sound sliced through the room. Sharp, sudden, unmistakable. A knock. Not soft. Not distant. Loud, urgent, deliberate. My stomach sank. Who is that? I whispered, my voice barely audible. Alexa's eyes narrowed. Her hand went to my shoulder, grounding me. Stay calm, she said. We weren't expecting anyone. But we'll handle this. I froze. Heart hammering, breath shallow. The gold hoop swung lightly against my cheeks, the skirt clinging snugly. Lila was here, and I wasn't sure if she was ready to hide. Another knock, louder this time. Alexa, open up. I know you're in there. Panic flooded me. My mind raced. Erin wanted to run. Lila wanted to stay. I didn't know which part of me would answer. Alexa grabbed my wrist, her grip firm. Bathroom. Now. We moved quickly, every step a thunderous reminder that one false move could expose everything. I slipped past the doorframe, skirt brushing my legs, heart threatening to burst. Inside the bathroom, I pressed my back to the cold tile, trying to control my breathing. The reflection in the small mirror was terrifying. And exhilarating. Lila looked alive. Too alive. Like she could be caught at any moment. The knocking grew frantic. A shadow crossed the frosted glass. I couldn't see clearly, but I felt it. Danger imminent. Alexa's voice, soft but commanding, cut through the tension. Stay quiet. Stay still. I'll handle it. She stepped toward the door, then paused. Her hand hovered over the knob, every muscle taut. Remember, she whispered, leaning close. You are Lila. You stay calm, and she won't suspect a thing. I nodded, though my hands shook. Every breath felt like a countdown. Every heartbeat like a warning. The door rattled again. And then, a soft laugh. Alexa, I know you're hiding something. I can hear movement. My knees buckled. I pressed my face to the cold tile. I could feel Lila's identity surging inside me. She wanted to step out. She wanted to be seen. But the danger. The fear. The thrill of almost being caught made her retreat. I closed my eyes. Focused. Tried to separate Erin from Lila. But it was impossible. And as Alexa braced herself at the door, I realized. This was just the beginning. The first brush with exposure had shown me how fragile the secret was. How intoxicating it felt to live as Lila. And how far I might go just to see her reflection again. The knocking didn't stop. It grew louder, more insistent, echoing through the apartment like a drumbeat of doom. My body was frozen, pressed against the cold bathroom tiles. Lila wanted to step forward, to feel the warmth of the room and Alexa's admiration, but every fiber of me screamed danger. Alexa's voice was steady, almost a whisper, but it carried weight. Listen, stay calm. Don't move. Not a sound. I nodded, though my pulse thundered in my ears. Lila's reflection in the tiny bathroom mirror seemed to flicker, as if aware of the risk surrounding her. Her eyes, my eyes, looked alive, trembling with excitement and terror at the same time. Another knock, sharper this time. Alexa, I'm opening the door. I swallowed hard. I could hear footsteps moving just outside the bathroom. Every second stretched into eternity. Every heartbeat felt like a drum of exposure. Suddenly, Alexa's hand gripped mine. On 3, we move, she whispered. 1, 2, 3. The door opened, not fully, but just enough to let a shadow in. I held my breath. Lila's identity felt raw and electric inside me. Hey, Erin? I just came by to drop something off, a familiar voice called from the doorway. My stomach lurched. Aunt Mara. She always had a way of showing up unexpectedly. And she hated secrets. Alexa stepped in front of me like a shield. "Everything's fine," she said, voice calm but firm. "Just some morning stuff. Come back later." Aunt Mara's shadow lingered, hesitant. Then finally, with a muttered, suspicious, "Fine," she retreated. I sank to the floor, panting, skirt clinging, gold hoops glinting in the faint bathroom light. Lila's reflection in the mirror stared back at me, triumphant and terrified all at once. Her pulse was mine. Her thrill was mine. Her secret was mine. Alexa crouched beside me, brushing a lock of hair behind my ear. "You're doing amazing," she whispered. "Do you feel her?" I nodded, overwhelmed. "Everywhere. She's everywhere," I admitted, voice trembling. She smiled softly. "That's good. Because you're going to need her. The more you feel her, the stronger you become. And trust me, you're going to love it." I didn't know if I was ready, but I knew I couldn't stop now. Lila had me. And for the first time, I didn't want to fight her. The thrill, the danger, the suspense, every near exposure, was binding us together. And I realized then, the mirror no longer reflected just my image. It reflected her, and she had stolen my heart completely. The apartment was quiet now, almost deceptively so. The sunlight slanted through the blinds, casting sharp lines across the floor. But inside, my heart was a war zone. Lila, alive, vibrant, undeniable, stood in the center of the room. The pastel top clung perfectly, the skirt swaying gently with each trembling movement. The gold hoops caught the light, glinting like tiny, accusing eyes. I tried to breathe normally. Failed. Alexa watched me from the couch, her expression soft but intense. "You've come so far," she said. "Look at her. Look at you." I wanted to hide. I wanted to run. I wanted to smash the mirror and pretend none of this had ever happened. But I couldn't. I was frozen, caught between fear and exhilaration. Between Erin and Lila. Between what was safe and what I secretly craved. Then, a sound. The front door clicked. Panic. Pure, immediate, paralyzing panic. Alexa's eyes widened. Her body tensed like a predator ready to defend her territory. "That's," she whispered. Her voice dropped. "Our neighbor." I felt my stomach flip. My legs wobbled. Every instinct screamed, "Run." But Lila wanted to face it. Wanted to be seen. Her reflection stared back at me, confident, unafraid, daring. The neighbor's footsteps echoed in the hall. Closer. Each step a drumbeat of exposure. Alexa stepped toward me, whispering, "Stay calm. Trust me. Don't move." The doorknob rattled violently. And then, the neighbor's voice, sharp and suspicious. "Is anyone in there?" I heard, movement. My knees buckled. The skirt swirled around me. Gold hoops swinging, catching the light. Every reflection in the mirror screaming, "You will be seen." I felt sweat run down my spine. Lila's heart was racing inside me. Erin's fear was screaming in my ears. The line between us blurred completely. Alexa whispered, calm but firm. "Step into the shadow. Stay with me. You can't be caught." I obeyed. Every muscle trembling. Every heartbeat deafening. We pressed against the wall, shadows blending with shadows. The neighbor's footsteps paused just outside the door. I could hear every breath, every movement, every possibility of discovery. Time slowed. My reflection in the mirror stared back, alive, daring, and beautiful. And in that suspended moment, I realized something terrifying. Lila had completely taken over. Erin was no longer in control. And I didn't want him to be. The doorknob rattled again. Closer. Imminent. And just as the neighbor's shadow appeared at the edge of the hall, I felt Lila's presence surge through me. Bold. Unapologetic. Perfect. The mirror reflected it all. The girl I loved. The girl I feared. The girl I couldn't hide. And then, a soft gasp. The neighbor froze. Our secret had been nearly exposed. But in that instant, the thrill, the fear, and the transformation collided into something I would never forget. The neighbor's shadow lingered just beyond the doorway, the faint outline of their shoes visible against the sunlight streaking the floor. Every second felt stretched, weighted, terrifying. Lila's heart was thrumming wildly inside me. Erin's mind screamed, "We're done. We're caught." But Lila, bold, defiant, alive, wanted to step forward. She wanted to be seen. Alexa pressed herself against me, whispering, "Stay still. Breathe. Let me handle this." The neighbor's foot shifted. A faint creak of the wooden floor under their weight. I held my breath, skirt trembling, gold hoops glinting dangerously in the reflected light. Suddenly, the neighbor's voice rang out again, sharper this time. "Hello? Are you there?" My knees weakened. Every instinct screamed to run, to hide, to erase Lila. But Alexa's hand found mine, firm and grounding. "You're safe." "Not yet," she whispered. Then, in a move so subtle I almost didn't notice, Alexa pressed a hand against my back, guiding me closer to the shadowed corner. The sunlight struck the mirror at just the wrong angle, reflecting Lila's form perfectly to anyone walking past. My pulse skyrocketed. I could feel Lila's excitement rising, mixing with my fear. She was alive. Almost fully realized. The neighbor's shadow shifted again, moving closer to the bathroom. I could hear their breathing. Every inhale a potential disaster. Alexa leaned in close. "On my mark," she whispered. Her eyes locked on mine. "Ready?" I nodded, trembling, feeling Lila's presence surge inside me. "Yes." The doorknob rattled violently. Closer. Our hearts beat in sync, Lila's, Erin's, Alexa's. Then Alexa acted. A whispered word, a flick of her wrist, a sudden shadow cast across the hallway. The neighbor paused. A murmur of confusion. And in that brief moment, Lila's reflection in the mirror flickered, alive, daring, untouchable. She wanted to step out. To face the world. To show herself fully. But I, Erin, held her back. Fear and desire collided inside me, and for the first time, I realized. I couldn't let her be fully seen. Not yet. The neighbor stepped back. A final, suspicious glance. Then, finally, the footsteps receded. I collapsed against the wall, shaking. Skirt clinging, gold hoops glinting, Lila thrumming inside me, alive and defiant. Alexa crouched beside me, brushing a hand along my cheek. "You did it," she whispered. "You survived." And she paused, smiling softly. "She's amazing." I couldn't speak. I couldn't breathe. I could only feel the collision of fear, excitement, and undeniable desire. Lila was no longer a reflection. She had taken over completely. And in that moment, I understood. There was no turning back. The apartment was eerily silent after the neighbor finally left. Sunlight poured in, but the tension in the air made it feel suffocating. Lila, alive, vibrant, and undeniable, stood fully in the mirror now, her reflection mocking the fragile shell of Erin that remained. I tried to step back, to separate myself from her, but it was impossible. Every heartbeat, every breath reminded me, she was here. She had always been here. And now, she was demanding attention. Alexa approached slowly, her eyes never leaving the mirror. "You've come so far," she whispered, brushing a strand of hair behind my ear. "Do you feel her? Really feel her?" I nodded, even though my body was trembling violently. "Yes," I admitted, voice barely a whisper. "She's alive." She smiled softly. "And she's yours to control, or to let go." My stomach twisted. Because I realized in that instant, I didn't want to control her. I didn't want her hidden. I wanted her free. The knock at the door started again. Sharp. Insistent. Not the neighbor this time. Someone else. Closer. Dangerous. Who now? I whispered, panic rising. Alexa's lips pressed to my ear. "It doesn't matter. You stay here. Let me deal with this." I could hear voices outside. A shadow passed under the doorframe. The doorknob rattled violently. Lila surged inside me like wildfire, fearless and bold. My reflection in the mirror no longer wavered. She leaned forward, eyes wide, lips slightly parted. The gold hoops glinted, The skirt swayed perfectly, the pantyhose shimmered in the sunlight. The voices outside grew louder. Footsteps approaching. And then, the door swung open. I pressed against the wall, heart in my throat. The intruder stepped in. And froze. Lila's gaze locked with theirs in the mirror. Confident. Unapologetic. Beautiful. I felt every nerve in my body ignite. Erin screamed inside me, "Run, hide, reverse this." But Lila laughed softly, a sound full of triumph and danger. And I realized something terrifying and exhilarating. I couldn't hide her anymore. I didn't want to. The intruder took a hesitant step forward. And then everything, every heartbeat, every secret, every stolen moment, hung suspended, balanced on the edge of discovery. And the screen of my life, like a YouTube cliffhanger, froze on that perfect, impossible moment. Would they discover the truth? Would Lila finally step fully into the world? Would Erin survive the collision of fear, desire, and transformation? No one knew. Not yet. The story ended here, suspended, unresolved, leaving the heart pounding, the imagination running, and the audience desperate for what comes next. My reflection stared back at me in the mirror, and I barely recognized the person I had become. The gold hoop swung slightly as I breathed, the pastel top soft against my skin, the skirt moving with a fluid grace I had never felt before. Lila. She was alive. Real. And she wasn't hiding anymore. Every instinct inside me screamed, "You shouldn't feel this way. You shouldn't want this." But the truth was undeniable. I wanted her. I craved her. Even though fear gripped my chest like a vice, even though every rational thought warned me against it, the thrill of being Lila consumed me. A sudden noise made me flinch, a faint creak somewhere in the house, but it didn't matter. Nothing could touch this moment. I was hers, she was me, and the reflection in the mirror confirmed it with an almost mocking smile. I reached up to adjust the gold hoops, my fingers trembling slightly. It wasn't just a piece of jewelry anymore, it was a symbol. Of freedom. Of danger. Of a part of myself I couldn't deny. Then, without warning, the phone rang. Sharp. Piercing. Insistent. The sound made my heart leap into my throat. Alexa's words from before echoed in my mind, "You can't hide her anymore." The ringing grew louder, and I realized, it wasn't just a phone. It was a signal. Someone new. Or someone about to find out. I froze, every nerve on fire, feeling Lila surge forward, daring, fearless. She wanted to answer. She wanted to step fully into the world, no matter the consequences. I tried to stop her. Erin's voice whispered, "No, this is too much. Too fast." But it was useless. Lila's presence was overwhelming, unstoppable, intoxicating. The reflection in the mirror smiled wider, lips glinting with the gloss I hadn't dared touch until now. Her eyes, my eyes, locked on the camera of life, daring anyone to judge, to question, to challenge her. Then the phone stopped ringing. A single, final beep. The silence that followed was louder than any sound I had ever heard. A silence filled with possibility. And danger. I realized, in that suspended moment, that nothing would ever be the same. Erin might survive, but only if Lila allowed it. And she had plans of her own. The mirror reflected the truth I could no longer deny. I had fallen for her. Completely. Irrevocably. And the world beyond that reflection would never be safe for me again. And just like that, before I could move, speak, or even breathe, the scene froze. The screen of life ended on that perfect, impossible moment. A girl alive in the mirror. A secret on the edge of discovery. And a heart stolen, not by fear, but by desire. The ringing had stopped, but the tension didn't. I sank onto the edge of the bed, skirt brushing my thighs, fingers tracing the gold hoops that now felt like chains and crowns all at once. Lila sat with me in the mirror, fully alive, whispering through every nerve in my body, "You can't hide me anymore." My thoughts swirled in chaos. Erin wanted to retreat, to erase the past 24 hours. But Lila, she was demanding more. Every curve, every flutter of my lashes, every brush of soft pastel fabric against my skin reminded me, I was hers now. Alexa knelt beside me, her hand resting lightly on my shoulder. You feel it too, don't you? She murmured. The question wasn't about desire. It was about surrender. About letting Lila take over without fear, without hesitation. I nodded slowly, swallowing hard. Yes, I admitted. I don't know anymore. That was the truth. I didn't know where Erin ended and Lila began. And maybe I didn't want to. A faint sound from the hallway made me flinch. Footsteps. Quick, purposeful, nearing. Not the neighbor. Not Alexa. Someone else. Someone who might uncover the truth we had worked so hard to protect. My pulse spiked. I wanted to panic. I wanted to run. But Lila refused to hide. Her reflection in the mirror stared boldly back at me, daring anyone to challenge her existence. Stay calm, Alexa whispered, sensing my panic. You're perfect. Let her handle this. The steps stopped outside the door. A shadow crossed the threshold. My knees weakened. The gold hoops glinted, catching the last streaks of sunlight. And then, silence. A part of me wanted to retreat into Erin completely. Another part, the louder part, wanted to embrace Lila fully, risk everything, let her own the world outside the mirror. I realized then, with a rush that made my chest ache, nothing would ever be the same. The girl in the mirror had stolen more than my reflection. She had stolen my heart, my fear, and my desire, all at once. And the world outside that mirror was about to test me. The shadow at the doorway didn't move. A single figure, motionless, watching, waiting. I could feel my pulse in my throat, the rhythm of fear and desire colliding. Lila stirred inside me, bold and unrelenting, daring me to face the danger instead of cowering. Alexa stepped slightly forward, eyes sharp. Remember, she whispered, she only exists because you let her. Control her, or let her take over. I wanted to retreat. I wanted to erase the past 48 hours. But Lila refused to hide. She leaned forward in the mirror, lips glinting, eyes alive, and whispered through every fiber of my being, watch me. The figure in the doorway shifted. A step closer. And then, a gasp. My knees buckled. The skirt swayed. The pantyhose shimmered. Gold hoops catching the faint light like tiny alarms. Erin screamed internally, run. Hide. Undo this. But Lila laughed softly. Not yet. I'm not done. The door creaked open further. And in that instant, every secret, every thrill, every danger hung suspended. I realized the truth. I couldn't hide her anymore. And I didn't want to. The mirror reflected it perfectly. The girl I had fallen for. The girl I feared. The girl who was about to change everything. And just before the intruder fully entered the room, the screen of life froze. Suspense, fear, and excitement collided in one impossible moment. Lila alive in the mirror. Erin on the edge of losing control. And the world outside waiting for the next move. The room was silent, but inside me, chaos raged. Erin's fear battled Lila's boldness. Every heartbeat echoed like a drum, every breath caught between panic and exhilaration. I could feel Lila stretching, growing, taking over space that used to belong to me. Her reflection in the mirror stared directly at me, almost daring me to resist. I didn't resist. I couldn't. Alexa stepped closer, her voice low, hypnotic. She's alive now, she said softly. And she's part of you. Don't fight her. Let her show you who you really are. I swallowed hard. Yes, I whispered, barely audible. She's me, and not me. The skirt swayed with every trembling step I took toward the mirror. The pastel top clung to me, the pantyhose shimmered under the soft light, and the gold hoops caught every glint, every shadow. I was Lila now. Fully. Then came a sudden sound. A soft knock. Quick. Hesitant. My heart lurched. Fear surged, but excitement followed immediately after. Lila wanted to step forward. She wanted to be seen. She wanted the world to acknowledge her existence. Alexa's hand found mine, grounding me. Stay calm, she whispered. You're perfect. You can handle this. I nodded. The knock came again, louder this time. And I realized, Whoever it was, they were about to discover something. Something no one could ever unsee. I pressed closer to the mirror, letting Lila take full control. My reflection smiled back, confident, bold, unstoppable. The doorknob rattled violently. I froze, gold hoops glinting, skirt swaying, heart racing. And in that instant, everything hung on the edge. Lila alive. Aaron fading. And the world waiting for what would happen next. The silence didn't last long. A faint knock sounded at the door, slow, deliberate. My heart slammed against my ribcage. Aaron's mind screamed, not again. Not now. But Lila, alive, bold, intoxicating, pushed forward, daring me to face it. Alexa's eyes narrowed. Another visitor? She whispered, her voice tense but controlled. I'll handle it, but you need to stay calm. Remember who you are. And who she is. I nodded, though my body shook. The skirt clung to me, the pantyhose shimmered, and the gold hoops swayed as if they had their own heartbeat. Lila's reflection stared back at me in the mirror, daring, vibrant, unyielding. The doorknob rattled. A voice called from the other side, cheerful, unsuspecting, but with an edge of suspicion. Hey, is anyone home? I just wanted to drop something off. Panic surged. I felt Lila stir inside me, her presence radiating confidence, teasing me, I want to go out there. Let them see me. Alexa crouched beside me, whispering. Stay behind me. She can't be caught. Not yet. I pressed myself closer to the shadows, skirt brushing lightly against the floor, my reflection in the mirror watching, alive and aware. The visitor's shadow stretched across the hallway, hesitant. Every second was unbearable. Then, a soft laugh from Lila escaped my lips. It wasn't Aaron. It wasn't controlled. It was her. Bold. Mischievous. Alive. The visitor's voice faltered. Is someone there? Alexa's hand tightened on mine. Almost done, she whispered. You're doing perfectly. Don't move. I felt every muscle tense. Every breath shallow. Lila pressed forward in the mirror, daring, intoxicating. Impossible to ignore. The visitor took a cautious step inside. Footsteps light, curious, unaware of the storm waiting inside. And then, for a split second, Lila leaned forward. Her reflection perfect, confident, almost daring the world to challenge her existence. I realized with a thrill so sharp it made my knees weak. We were on the edge. Every secret, every thrill, every heartbeat, hanging by a thread. And someone was about to pull the thread. The visitor stepped closer, holding a small package. Sunlight streamed across the floor, illuminating every detail of the room. And there we were. Lila in the mirror, bold, confident, alive. Aaron's fear clashed violently with her excitement. The visitor's eyes flicked toward the mirror. A pause. A moment of curiosity. A faint suspicion forming. Hello? The voice called again, this time sharper. Is anyone there? My knees threatened to buckle. Every fiber of me screamed, hide, reverse, pretend. But Lila's presence surged inside me, daring me to step forward, to reveal herself. Not yet, she whispered. But I want to. Alexa stepped slightly in front of me, shielding me, her gaze sharp and commanding. Everything's fine, she said, calm, persuasive. Just a little quiet in here. Maybe come back later. The visitor hesitated. Their shadow stretched across the floor, inching toward the mirror. I felt Lila push forward, a thrill I could barely contain. The skirt swayed. The gold hoops glinted. Her reflection's lips curved into a teasing, knowing smile. The visitor tilted their head, suspicion growing. They look different, the voice muttered under their breath. I held my breath. Every second stretched, each heartbeat loud, deafening. Lila's reflection seemed to shimmer in the mirror, alive and aware, almost challenging the world to see her. Alexa whispered urgently. Step back. Don't let her be seen. I obeyed, retreating slightly into the shadows, but Lila's presence refused to be contained. Her pulse raced inside me. Her excitement mingled with fear, danger and desire intertwined. I realized then that hiding her fully might be impossible. The visitor shifted again, moving closer to the doorway. Closer to the mirror. Closer to discovering the secret that Lila and I had fought to protect. And just as their eyes reached the reflection, Lila leaned forward fully, bold, daring, perfect. I gasped. Erin's panic and Lila's thrill collided violently, and the world hung suspended, teetering on the edge of discovery. The visitor's gaze locked on the mirror. For a split second, I thought it was over. Every instinct screamed, "You're caught. It's all over." Lila surged inside me, bold, fearless, alive. Her reflection stared back with a daring smile, glinting in the sunlight. I could feel every heartbeat, every pulse vibrating through my veins. I wanted to run. I wanted to hide. But she, Lila, wanted to confront it. Alexa's hand gripped mine tightly. "Now," she whispered. "Follow my lead." With a sudden movement, Alexa stepped toward the visitor, blocking their view, smiling sweetly and holding up her hands in a gesture of calm. "Oh, I'm so sorry," she said brightly. "You just missed us. We were, cleaning up. Come back later." The visitor hesitated, eyes flicking from Alexa to the doorway, then finally to the floor. A faint laugh escaped me. "Erin? Lila?" Hard to tell. The mirror shimmered, and Lila's reflection winked at me, triumphant. The visitor finally stepped back, muttering something about "maybe next time," and retreated down the hallway. The soft click of the door closing echoed in the apartment. I collapsed to the floor, skirt brushing my legs, pantyhose shimmering, gold hoops glinting. I felt Lila pulse inside me, victorious, alive. Erin's panic ebbed, replaced by a dizzying mix of fear, excitement, and desire. The thrill of almost being discovered had intensified everything. Every sense, every heartbeat, every stolen breath. Alexa crouched beside me, brushing a loose strand of hair behind my ear. "You did amazing," she whispered. "Not everyone survives their first test with her." I couldn't speak. I could barely breathe. Lila had fully awakened inside me, bold and undeniable. And I realized something terrifying and exhilarating. There was no turning back. Not now. Not ever. The mirror reflected it all, a girl alive, unstoppable, perfect, and completely mine. And outside, the world waited, unaware of the secret we carried. A secret that was only growing stronger. The apartment was quiet now, but the air was electric, charged with the aftermath of what had almost been discovered. I sat on the floor, skirt brushing my thighs, pantyhose shimmering in the fading light. Lila pulsed inside me, alive, bold, unstoppable. Erin's fear had ebbed, but it lingered at the edges, an undercurrent of caution beneath her confident wave. I stared into the mirror, meeting her eyes. The girl I had fallen for. The girl I feared. The girl who had stolen my heart. Alexa leaned against the wall, watching silently, a knowing smile on her lips. "You survived," she said softly. "And she's fully awake now. There's no going back." A shiver ran down my spine. The thrill of secrecy, the danger of exposure, the intoxicating power of transformation. It all collided inside me. Lila leaned forward, pressing her reflection against mine, daring me to surrender completely. And I realized, I didn't want to fight her. I wanted her. Every part of her. A faint knock echoed from somewhere outside, soft, hesitant, almost teasing. My pulse spiked again. Someone might find out next time. Someone might. But for now, Lila ruled. Bold, perfect, alive. And Erin faded into the background, a whisper in the storm of her existence. The mirror reflected the truth I could no longer deny. I had fallen for her. Completely. Irrevocably. And the world outside, curious, dangerous, waiting, didn't matter. Not yet. The story ends here. Suspense hanging like a heartbeat in the air, unresolved, teasing, impossible to ignore.